Okay, we're just attempting to go live here. I actually kind of started the live a couple minutes early just because I wanted to make sure that that the audio worked. So if you can hear me in the chat, please give me a shout out. Please let me know if my mic is working. I know there's a delay. Yay, it works. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh my God, guys. Oh, I was really worried because, last time I had to stop and create a whole new stream ticket and everything. So, okay, you know what? Let's just go ahead and we're going to bring this up here now. Okay, I got my cards. All right, I got everything else. I'm going to grab my pretty blue diamond pen. Oh, look at that. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Okay, anyway. Hi, everyone in the chat. Oh, I'm so happy to see so many people here. Hopefully my hair, I'm like really trying to get my hair not to be in my eyes the whole time. So I have it kind of clipped up a little bit, but I don't know. It's kind of doing its own thing. So anyway, hi Dennis. Hi Joanna. Hi Midwest Night Riders. Nice to see you. Victor, always a pleasure. Chiro Sounds, Braden. Okay, awesome. Jason, hello. Selena, wow, we got a lot of people here. Joanna, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Oh my God. So I have to tell you guys that, after my last stream last week, I'm so happy to be here for part 2, by the way, that I was actually able to accomplish pushing through and getting everything ready for part 2, because part 1, let me tell you guys, I was terrified. Oh, hi, Alexis. I was terrified to share what I shared last week. I felt like I was peeing my pants. I'm so scared, but I knew it had to be done. And there's something about when you actually reveal yourself and show your truth. You know what I'm saying? There's just something so, what is it, euphoric about it. And I have literally been so happy since then. I was already really, really happy after everything, after I got myself back, after I got the blue fairy back, and really started figuring my story out again. And it's I've just been really, really happy. But man, I have been skipping, dancing, skipping. That's the other thing. I stopped dancing, for the full year. You know what I'm saying? Dancing had been a staple for me of who I was, and so that was another way that I knew that there was something really off with me was, I wasn't able to dance for the past year. I like I said, I tried listening to music. Music magic is one of my favorite gifts that I have, and I wasn't able to even tap into anything anymore. I tried listening to music, and it was all surface level stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing was really hitting me really deep, and I was still managing to do my light weaving in the car. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to keep up on that, but I wasn't able to dance at all. But when all this stuff started coming back and I started figuring out how to put all the pieces back together, I remember just staying up. This was a few weeks ago, just staying up one night. And I stayed up till 2 a.m. and I was just listening to music and dancing. It's all the magic, all the meaning has returned to my life. So all the songs I'm feeling the songs again. I feel God, his presence with me again. And I'm just I'm so happy. So I'm telling you guys, there's really something to be said about really going to the depths of what's in your heart and sharing that with people. There's just really something special about it. All right. Hi there, Blazer and Tiffany. I like to say hi to people in the chat before we get started. So, okay. So some other little minute things I wanted to talk about before we get into the part 2 was, okay, first of all, who else is watching the Trump presidency where he hasn't even gotten into office yet? Okay, guys, he isn't even in office yet. And he's already healing the nation. Okay? He's already, he's appointed, what was it, Robert Kennedy Jr.? He appointed him for the new health person, right? That was in place of the other person. You ever, God, it's bad. I don't know the names for these things just because I just briefly go over these things. But Make America Healthy Again, I think that is going to be, it's going to be successful. I feel like, like I've heard all these articles about how the pharmaceutical companies, all these major branches of government like that have been so corrupted, like they're all basically shaking in their boots. And I'm just like, thank God. Thank God. Oh, hi, Barry. Oh, nice to see you in here again. Oh, appreciate that. Appreciate you. So yeah, so it's already healing. I heard that I think I mentioned this last week too. Like Hamas already was like, we got to end this war, So they heard Trump was coming. We got to end this war. They're starting to arrest people for shoplifting and things like that of that nature again, because you remember like after the whole lockdowns and everything like that, it's like people could go and you could steal up to like $600 worth of goods or something, and they wouldn't even arrest you in some places, and it was kind of like, what is the incentive for people not to do that then? That's the thing. When you start, because, they really play into the ideal of people want to feel like good people. You know what I'm saying? And we all want to be understanding. We all want to have that empathy for people. We want to be able to be seen like, oh, wow, you have compassion. But the problem is when it's fake, and that's really what happened was it lost its meaning. People forgot, like, just because you want to make someone feel good and you want them to know that you see them and that you can relate to them doesn't mean that you have to support sickness, absolute sickness. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, get the fluoride out of the water. I totally agree with you on that one. Get the poisons out of our foods. Why is it okay for them to poison all of America's food, but all these other countries, they have all of these things that they put in our foods, they're banned. You know what I'm saying? It's like we spend the most for healthcare, but we have the sickest nation. Like, this is just absolute, it's just garbage. It's just, I'm ready for it. I'm just ready for this change. I just feel it. I mean, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I'll mention it again. And I think I even mentioned it last week. The Inception, the movie Inception. What I keep seeing when I tap into the timeline, when I tap into the future, okay, the fact that enough of us collectively came together and have been pushed for Trump to win, right? Okay. And that's why I keep saying it's bigger than Trump, because this is about the collective human consciousness. It's like enough people finally are waking up. Okay. That's what that 4 years of Biden was all about. We had to go through that. I really was against it when it first all happened. But at the same time, back then, even it made sense to me why it had to happen this way. You know what I'm saying? So now more people are woke up. It's like that 100th monkey effect. Okay, it's like once enough of our consciousness finally has the truth, it starts to spread. You have to reach that threshold, and we have reached that threshold. You know what I'm saying? And so the Inception movie scene that they kept showing me was, I think it was like the opening scene where they have the Asian guy and he's in the apartment that they made for him. Like it's his apartment. Okay. So the Inception people, they had created this apartment, but they created the wrong rug. Right. And so all of the people, the subconscious people were coming to kill the inception people. I don't even know what you would call them. People who were incepting the dream. All the subconscious was coming to find them. Right. Because they knew that they didn't belong in there. And I feel like that is what the human consciousness is doing now. It is healing now. We are starting to recognize there are something that is in here, that is in this collective that doesn't belong here. And it's these interdimensional, like lower level, lower vibrational beings that don't belong here. They aren't human, and they are coercing humans. They are manipulating. And especially because here's the thing, when you traumatize a human body, it ejects the soul. I feel like that's literally what happened to me last year. When I went through my eviction, okay, and all that, my tower came crumbling down, okay, my soul, which is Aurora, the blue fairy, she left. And so that leaves room for other things to come in. And I feel like that is how we got so corrupted, and it's time to put an end to it. So anyway, I see the human consciousness waking up. We've been waiting for this for so long. This is like end times type of stuff, and I'm fucking ready for it. I'm fucking ready. And who heard about this meteor that supposedly came through here called the Apophis? Apophis? Okay, when I heard that name, the first thing that I thought of was this movie called The Gods of Egypt. Okay, and in this movie, I just remember the Apophis was a giant worm-like creature that basically was going to come and just like eat all of reality. Basically, it was going to just destroy it all. So I thought that was very interesting that this meteor, this meteor comet, I'm not sure what you would call it, but anyway, so it came and I saw a spark of it. I saw a video of it. It came in like this bright blue light just streaking across the sky, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, is this more than just a meteor? You know what I'm saying? Is there something else that like energetically that just came here to like help us finish off the job of like cleaning up? Because that's the other thing I thought of when I thought of this big giant worm that's just coming through. It's like it's going to just what do worms do? You know, they filter out the bad stuff in the dirt and they make it nutritious again. They make it fertile again. Okay, so we gotta sweep away all that corruption. Okay. Nobody mentioned the meteor. What are you talking about? Like on the news and stuff? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this, Tiffany. Yes, I do think the future is looking bright. Yeah, it was over Montana, Blazer. Yes, that's where I saw a video of my friend had posted it. Okay, and last thing, there's only one last thing I'm going to talk about that has to do with like outside of my stream topic, and then obviously the tarot reading we're going to do. Okay, and this is just me hypothesizing. This is just me contemplating and thinking, because I know everyone, Elon Musk, I don't know, like, I don't know. I've always gotten really mixed feelings about him, right? And so now he's making these robots, okay? And, you know, I was going through a TikTok doom scroll at one point, and I had heard some video clips of him where he basically, it's like the things that they narrowed down, basically where he basically said like they were summoning demons, AI into the AI. The AI is like summoning a demon, is like what he kind of mentioned. And I just thought to myself, what if? Because you know he came out with the black MAGA line, right? And like I mentioned before, MAGA is like the highest level magician, I think, in the Freemasonry or something like that. I'm sorry. This is what I just be thinking about randomly. And I just thought I'd share this with you guys because I thought to myself, okay, well, if he's a magician, right? And he's creating these robots, that like can contain a consciousness to a certain extent, is artificial consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Is he making bodies for other things to go into these things? Like, would that be considered a demon? You know, would a lower level being be able to hijack the electronic equipment? You know, because you know, it'd have to still follow certain rules, I'm sure. But, you know, like this is just things I'm contemplating right now. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. If any of y'all have any ideas, feel free to drop it below in the comments or in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I definitely will read the chat later on. And yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, is he doing that? Is that what he's doing? He's making the capacity for these possible AI demonically possessed robots to have their own thing, have a chance at life. Chance at life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Anyway, like Ghost in the Machine. You know, I actually never saw that movie. It's the one with Scarlett Johansson, right? Ghost in the Machine. Am I thinking of the right one? Anyway, I would like to take a chance at that. Take a look at that movie, though. Yeah, I just don't get a good feeling from him. You know, I kind of always wanted to get this sense that he was kind of like a Tony Stark character, you know, like an Iron Man kind of guy. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. I mean, all of us have dark and light in us, right? But like, what side's he working on? I don't know. I mean, he wants to put brain chips in our brains, right? Like they have done it, and they've done it successfully. Like a guy, I guess, has this app in his head that he can like do things with, like with this Neuralink chip in there. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Trying to think of my week and how it went, other than just happy. You know, even as I'm out there door dashing and I'm getting shitty orders, it was like one of the worst weeks. Let me tell you, I could tell that a lot of people were depressed. Okay, because my county was a blue county, so people weren't buying DoorDash this week, and it was shitty. But at the same time, I was like, I don't give a fuck. I said my truth. I'm riding high now. I'm on cloud nine. I'm skipping everywhere I go. I'm fucking happy. Okay, we're going through all the things, and now I was able to come back, and we got part 2, and I'm super excited. So let me go ahead and yeah, so the recap of everything was basically this. Okay. It was all about my first heart wish, right? My first big heart wish that actually happened, that took me forever to finally believe in. But the first heart wish for me was literally the keystone, okay, to the foundation, to the archway, basically. I keep imagining it as an archway to a tower, okay, and all the tower is the foundational stones of who I am, who you build yourself up to be, right? Like you have to build a strong foundation so that way when lightning comes and strikes that tower, it will stand still. But if you haven't built yourself up on truth, then I think that it falls down. That's what happens. And that is what happened because I had done all these manifestations, but there was one manifestation that I was refusing to really believe in. It was the one that was closest to my heart, the one that makes me feel most vulnerable, the one that scared me to death, to even talk about it. All right. But once I was able to talk it over with my main guide, who, like I mentioned last week, I call him Mr. Universe. Okay. My main guide. And he explained to me the reason all of this stuff was happening is because I didn't put my keystone into place for my tower. And once I did that, let me tell you, the contentment that came through my body, like I said, everything turned back on again. It's like all the music magic, it's like the angels were singing to me again. It's like he's a music angel. And I couldn't be more happy. So anyway, let's go forward. Okay. So it feels like now that the keystone is in place, like everything that I'm taking a look back upon, all right, is like two more layers. Is when I see it, it's like imagine someone wrapped up in chains, right? Okay, a long time ago, I was able to break the first chain off of me. I can't even remember what that fear was at this time, but I remember I could feel it because the second that the chain broke of a false belief system that I held about myself, the first time it broke, I literally could feel that it was gone. It was like a weight lifted off of me right around my chest area. And I thought to myself, like, wow, I was just walking around with that tight on me like that, and I didn't even know it that whole time. It just became natural. It just became who I thought it was, right? And so I broke that first level, and now we've broken through two more layers. That's what I keep, like, every time I go back and look over something from the past, it's like two more layers have been broken. Okay. So let's go back. Okay, so I made my first heart wish, right? And then I waited. All right. I didn't even think about it anymore because that's part of the magic of it all, is when I was going through this process and I was awakening to God and my connection to God again. It's like I would do these manifestations, I would make these heart wishes, and I would just let it go afterward. If God's going to do it, then God's going to do it. I don't have to worry about it. Okay. And in the meantime, all right, I just kept going forward with wherever my heart was driving me to go. Okay. So I ended up starting taking classes. Right. I remember one of the classes, the first class I ever took was a timeline manifestation and creation class. You know that? Isn't that hilarious? Because I feel like from that moment, that is literally where all of this really started, was like 6 years ago, like propelled me off into this new timeline that I'm on now, that I'm here with you today. This is where we are at now because of that. Okay. But where did I start? Okay, so I'm going to be talking mainly about how I started to recognize when my spirit guides were even talking to me at all. Okay, that I started to wake up to the fact that I even had these gifts at all. And I would say it goes back to, I have a little side note here written. It really started coming to me when I was pregnant with my daughter, right? After I had asked God to help me and I had my higher self or my soul braid walk in, the other version of me, come and ask to be one with me, and I agreed to it. Well, there was other things that started happening around that time. All right. There was this man, okay, that I had met a long time ago. And I got to remind you guys, I was in the darkest period of my life. I was just getting ready to come out of the darkest period of my life. And so I would think about this guy from time to time, okay, because he was someone who brought Jesus into my life. Okay. He was the first guy that I ever really started talking to after I left my first husband. Okay. After I had to clear out all of that mess, and I met him, and it happened synchronistically even. Okay. He was a he was a tarot reader at this shop I used to go to. Okay. And I had a vision of him in this crystal egg. I had asked God to show me, who do I follow next, right? And so I had seen this vision of a man in a doorway with a star above his head. Okay. And it just so happened that this guy, okay, I was going to ask him for his number after I got my reading done. And when I came back out, he wasn't there anymore. And I just thought to myself, oh, I missed my opportunity, right? Okay, no big deal. I was in my early 20s, right? And so I go to leave the place, and it happened to be in a basement. When I looked up, I saw this man, and he was standing in the doorway, and above the doorway was a literal star over his head. And I was like, oh shit. And he asked me to go to dinner. So I went to dinner with him. Turned out he was really the first psychic I ever met. Like, I remember at one point he said the last four, out of nowhere, he said these last four digits, or he said these four numbers. And I was like, wow, that's the last four digits of my mom's phone number. He was like, oh, okay, that's weird. I felt like that was just like spirit trying to show me, okay, this guy's real. All right. So he was the one that brought me to Jesus, basically, because I really wasn't a big Jesus fan at that time. I'd been kind of put off by the whole baptism, Christianity, church thing. I was just like, Buddha was really my thing. And so he kind of challenged me a little bit. And so I would think about him from time to time. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, he kept popping up into my mind. And I'm just like, I was like, I couldn't find him on Facebook because I didn't remember his last name. And I was watching this show that was out at the time. It was called The Young Pope. And then it turned into, they had a second season called The New Pope. And there was this woman in it. And she looked so much like his daughter, but if after she'd grown up, she just looked exactly like his daughter. And now I'm just like, God, like, I wish I could find him and see how he's doing. I just want to check in on him. And so I remember I just went to my phone, and I'm like, how do I even remember his name? I don't even know his last name. I remembered a little thing I'd said. I remember I said, you're hers, what I'm saying? Because he had a daughter. And so I'm like, you're hers. She was the only child he had. All right. So I'm like, okay, what's his name? And then I remembered her name. So I was like, okay, cool. So I looked up both those names, and I just put hers instead of, because I didn't know the last name. And actually I got a search result. I got a search result for it. And it was an obituary for his daughter. His daughter had died. But it showed me his last name. I don't even know how, out of just searching the first names of them and hers, like how it managed to pull that up, but it did. And so now I know that I really think that was his daughter communicating with me, that she had been communicating with me. And she wanted me to find him again. Like the feeling I got was like, he needs someone, reach out to him. Say, in fact, I'd even had a dream so much as to where I was comforting him in this dream. He was a writer. Okay. And I found him in this hotel room, and he was just on the floor, like crying. And so I went up to him in the dream at the time, and I lifted my shirt up, and I just huddled him, and I held him against me. And that's all, and I just let him just like skin to skin contact, like how you have to, that helps people. So I was like, I just held him, and then I left to go do something else in the dream. I came back, and he was writing again. All right. So I was like, okay, so we got him back on the right track. So I reached out. I had his last name now. I reached out. I managed to find him. And so I knew that this was like, I didn't exactly know, but I like, okay, this was God talking to me? Like, I'm not sure. Now I look back, now I'm like, that was clearly her coming to talk to me and say, hey, could you go give a shout out to my dad? So I did. And I was just like, told him all the beautiful things that I remembered about him, and just hoping that he was doing well. And he was actually quite surprised to hear from me. And I was pregnant with my daughter at the time. So he's like, wow, like, well, I'm like really glad that you reached out to me. And we did talk back and forth for a little while, but he was full on Trump derangement syndrome at that point. And I eventually clicked over into supporting Trump. And so when that happened, and he had made some comment to me about it, I was just like, yeah, but it's our president and we should respect him. And he blocked me. He blocked me. I was like, oh, Sorry, what am I going to do? I did my best though, and he was writing something, and so when I did end up talking to him again, he did start writing again, and so I felt like, okay, mission's successful. He's writing again. We comforted him. He's good. Okay, so this is how things started to show and appear to me. Was like, it's like it's like these fairies are buzzing around me. Okay, this is how it started. Sort of like there's just these fairies that are buzzing around me. It's like spirit. It's just like, and it's making me anxious inside. I'm like, why? Well, like it's just driving me. It's like and it won't stop. It won't stop until I do whatever it is that it's trying to drive me to do. And if I don't do it, well, then I end up regretting it. Then something happens, and I end up regretting it. Okay, so back to the timeline here. Okay, so I made this first heart wish. I go on living my life. I'm trying to figure things out because at the time I, was a woman with 6 kids in a relationship that I didn't really feel like I wanted to be in. It was like, what other choice do I have type of situation. I mean, I don't know else how to put it than that. It's not that I didn't care. It's just that me and my daughter's father, he's the father of my daughter and one of my sons. And we had this on again, off again relationship for a really long time. And so by the time we actually made it back around with my daughter, it was like he stepped up to the plate to be a father, and I respected that. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll go through with this, even though there was never a conversation about it. I just like, and I tried to reconnect with them many times over the years. And we're going to get more into that part of it towards the end of what I'm talking about. So just put that on the back burner. Just know we're going to get into that part. Okay, but moving forward, okay, at this point in my life, okay, I would say I was at the beginning of the tarot deck. I was at the Fool stage, okay, where I had all this potential. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going out there in the world because I'd done the Course in Miracles, and I was doing all these meditations, and I was doing all these manifestations, and things were really happening, right? And so I was in the Fool stage, and I was getting ready. I was kind of transitioning, I guess, into the Magician stage because I didn't really know what my tools were yet, but this is, the magician stage, I think, started though with the manifestation pages. All right. So this is where I'm at with it. All right. And then okay. Yeah. So this is another thing that happened. Okay. So spirit likes to talk to me in characters. All right. They give me characters for people. All right. And I used to do that a long time ago in my 20s. I didn't really get as deep into the archetypes, which is what it is. It's archetypes, right? Characters for people. Like spirit will tell me, okay, this person is like this character, or they're like this character. If you get multiple characters, well, wow, you're a really complex person here. And spirit's really trying to tell me a lot of things. But at this point in time, I didn't quite, I didn't go that deep into it yet. I'd given up all of that stuff. It's like spirit was like reintroducing me to all of these different tools that I'd already kind of started to touch on using when I was in my 20s. But then we went through the dark phase, all right, and all of it stopped, right? My spirit guide stopped talking to me for 10 years for the initiation, all right, to see if I was still going to choose God. And I did. So imagine this. One day, okay, I was watching this show with my ex. Okay, at the time he wasn't my ex. And you probably have heard of this show. It's called Outlander. Okay, Outlander. It's a beautiful, beautiful love story. It's about a woman who ends up traveling back in time, and she like finds the love of her life. And then due to circumstances, she has to go back to her original time. But now she's like pregnant with her love of her life's baby. And she goes back to like her first husband because she travels back to the same, like it takes her back to the same, almost the same place in time. Okay. But now she's like, and so she has to live raising this baby, right, with this man. Okay, who she was in love with, but she was gone for so many years back in time. Okay. And so I was watching this show with my ex. Sorry, my nose ring just started to pop out there. I'm not picking it. Promise. Okay. So I was watching the show with him. I begged him to watch it with me, actually, because there wasn't very many things that we had in common that I could really get him to participate in with me anymore, other than TV shows. So I was like, come and watch the show with me. And so we're watching it. And the first husband, his name is Frank in the show. Okay, yes, Cessnock, love it, Cessnock. Anyway, love it. Love it. Jamie. Okay. Jamie is the guy from the past. All right. And so Frank is was the first husband who she had to go back and raise this baby with. And they raised a family together. He stepped up to the plate. Right. And so as me and my ex are watching the show, he throws a fit. He stops watching it. He says, I can't watch this anymore. I'm like, what's the problem? You know? And he says to me, I can tell I'm your Frank. I can tell. I can't watch this show with you anymore. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? At the time, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, it's just a show. I was like, what do you mean you're my Frank? I was like, okay. I said, if you're my Frank, I said, then where the fuck is my Jamie? I said, do you see any Jamie around here? I was like, no. I was like, so, fuck off here with all that noise. That's crazy. But then I went out on the porch and I started thinking. And I was like, damn it, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely fucking right. He is absolutely my friend. 100%. And I was like, well, you know what that fucking means? That means, where the fuck is my Jamie? I said to Spirit, I said to the universe, right? Where the fuck is my Jamie? Where is my time traveling husband? You're going to bring him to me. You are going to bring him to me. And so that was put out there, right? And that was when I realized, okay, characters really do have meaning for me. These things really do have meaning for me. In fact, I think, after being taught by the Course in Miracles, that anything that really comes into my conscious awareness is meant for me to look at it. There's a reason why something comes into your mind. There's a reason why your consciousness focuses upon whatever thing that it's focusing on. Now, I'm not saying that lots of people can't focus on the same thing and see a lot of the same stuff, because we are all like mini versions, right? We all have things that we can relate to in common. We're all climbing up that mountain, right? We're all climbing up that ladder of ascension. All right, we're all going to have similar lessons to learn. Okay? But the things that come to you personally, that catch your eye, that your heart desires for whatever reason, that you daydream about, things like that, songs that come to you, words that stick out. I have Spirit talks to me, and a lot of times it just gives me like one word, and then I'm like, what the hell does that word mean? It's always a word I don't know, of course, and so then I have to go and look it up, and that gives it so much more meaning, right? So I started realizing these characters, these things really have meaning for me, and that's what my life was about at this point. I'm like giving my life experience meaning and giving myself a purpose, because what other reason is there? I've already done the opposite. I already saw that road. It was dark and lonely and sad, and I never want to go back to it. Okay. So this set off a chain of events, because I asked for my time traveling husband to come to me. And so what I think happens when you ask for something like this type of a thing, like bring a twin flame, bring a genetic equal, bring whatever, bring this thing to me. You know what I'm saying? All right. It set off a chain of events to where Spirit will like throw other tests in front of you. So like, which one is it? Are you going to be able to discern which one it is? And so immediately I had this man come into my life. Okay. I call him the angel hunter. Okay. Now the reason I call him the angel hunter is because now I know that he was like the angel hunter from the show, The OA, which I have an episode on my YouTube. Okay. In my lives, you can scroll back and find the ones. I think it was actually my most popular one for a very long time. It was about the OA. So this is why I had this guy, okay, was Hal, the angel hunter. I didn't know that at the time, because see, once you put out the call for something so pure like that and you're searching for it, okay, sometimes other things hear that call. Okay, like a moth to a flame, so to speak, like it's not always the purest, brightest thing that gets attracted to you first. I feel like this was a test from Spirit. So this man came to me, okay, and we started talking, and there was something there, right? There was something there. And I went to go write him. At one point, we had been talking for like, I don't know, a couple days. And I went to go write him something, and he had blocked me. And when he blocked me, my whole world shook. I told you guys, the confirmations, when something important comes along, it's like someone just pulled the rug out from under me, and my legs get shaky, my knees get weak. And I just remember falling back down into my bed when I saw that he blocked me. And I'm like, why? Like, what is that? And within a couple of minutes, he had unblocked me. I was like, there was no reason for him to even do that. But he said the reason he did it is because he knew I was coming for him. He said that he'd had a bunch of weird synchronicities, okay, up until this point where 2 other women with the exact same type of setup as me, like same amount of kids, same type of background, 2 other ones had already come and talked to him recently. And he said he knew something big was coming from him for him. And so he was like, I'm done with it, because he said that he didn't want to ever love again. Okay, he said, I posted this thing. All right, I posted this picture. It was back in Twitter days, right? And it was a picture, and I can still remember. I tried to find it again. It was like a meme, and it was like, but it was a beautiful picture of a man, like a nature man, like a forest creature, spirit guy. All right, and there was a blue fairy, and she had reached inside the chest of the man, and she was bringing his heart to life. Okay, and he said that this moved him. This is why he blocked me, because he said he didn't want to love again. Okay, again, the fairies were buzzing around me. They're like, there's something here. There's something going on here. I also feel like it was like past life karma type of stuff. Okay, he claimed that he was and I don't know how to pronounce this, the Tuna Duluth. I know it's the shining ones from the Ireland and stuff like that. Okay, he said that he was originally from Ireland, which I thought this was kind of funny at this point, because I mean, Outlander, right? Is this my Jamie? Is this my Jamie? He's Irish, maybe he's close enough. It's not Scottish, but it's Irish, close enough. So, and he's a shining being, like he's the Tuna Duluth, right? Okay, so let's keep listening though. Apparently, he was taken from his family at a very young age. This is very sad. Okay, and he wrote all about this, his whole life story, in this book he wrote, and so I'm not revealing things, honestly, that he didn't already put out there himself. Not that anyone ever know who it was I'm talking about right now. But let's say someone comes around and they happen to know, right? So anyway, he had been taken from his family at a really young age. He'd been abused and neglected by his mother and his stepfather. And it was so bad to the point where him and his brother both got taken. And they got adopted by a wealthy family in England at the time. Eventually they moved to Canada, and that's where he was living when I started talking to him. That's where he lived most of his life, but he had grown up, all right, in the UK. And this mother that adopted him, she was into tarot, and she was into magic, and she taught him how to do tarot, and she taught him how to do magic. Okay, so now at the time when me and him were talking at this point, I was just starting to take a tarot class, right? And so I was sharing everything that I was doing with him. All right, I started doing, not only doing that, I started not just doing my tarot spreads, but I started doing other things now. I was getting more creative. I was making these creation spreads. Okay, and the things that I was putting into the creation spreads was like, it's almost like they were coming to life around me. And so I was sharing all this with him, and he knew what the tarot, but he tried to pretend like he didn't know what the things meant. He literally tells me, oh, my mother did this tarot and magic, but I don't know. No, now I know everything that I was showing with him, everything I was telling him about. He actually had a clue that this was what was more going on underneath there, more than I did even. Okay, he actually, okay, yeah, the book on magic. Mm-hmm. So one of the first things he did for me was he tried to show me how you could manifest objects for people, different specific things with sigils. All right. And he had, one day I was laying in my bed, and out of nowhere, this beetle just popped down under my spot, under where I'm sitting at in my bed. I'm like, what the I freak out. It's this fucking beetle, like it was a little brown beetle like this. And so I was talking to him. I was like, oh my God, this beetle just appeared out of nowhere. And he was like, that was me. And he showed me the sigil that he used to manifest. He said, I wanted to manifest this beetle where you're at, right? Like, I forget. I think he's even said he wanted to do it like by my pillow or something. Like, why would you pick a beetle? Like, oh, of all things. Well, anyway, he was successful on this. Okay. And so I started trying to do things. I was like, well, if he can do that, maybe I can manifest something physical, back, And so what I did was I imagined a butterfly, and the butterfly was like a heart. Okay. It was like a little folded, like the butterfly wings, the wings were in the shape of a heart. And so I envisioned this butterfly, and then I sent it to him. I said, okay, there you go. Now, I didn't tell him. I waited. All right. I waited to see what would happen. And out of nowhere, because he was a bachelor, right? Out of nowhere, he writes to me the next day and he says, I don't know where the fuck this came from. He said, but look what I just found. And it was a paper clip that was in the shape of a heart. If you unfold it, it looked like the butterfly that I had sent him. And so I was like, okay, I guess that's possible. So I'm just letting you guys know that this stuff is real. This stuff is possible. Okay, so he manifested a beetle. I manifested this butterfly. All right. I started sharing, like, this is when music started to come back to life for me now too. And one of the things that I was really being pulled to the songs from was Les Miserables, the one with Hugh Jackman in it. Okay. I was like, I don't know. I was like really drawn to this movie for some reason, especially when it came to the character of Javert and Jean Valjean. And so I was sharing these heart songs with this guy. And like I said, he could see something even deeper than I could at that point. He already was a magician, a well-versed magician. And so he was basically taking my own things Spirit was giving me, the messages that Spirit was giving me. He was taking them, he was reading them and not telling me even that he could understand them. And I was like, I was still in the point, like, I don't know, is this what they're trying to say? Is that what they're trying to say? I'm not really sure, right? So the character that Spirit gave me for him was Javert, okay, from Les Miserables. Now, if you don't know about that, who that character is, let me tell you, okay? And he also asked me too at the time, well, who is, because I told him, I said, I feel like you're Javert, and he said, well, explain the character to me, right? Javert was the prison guard, right, who watched over Jean Valjean, who was put into prison and forced into this hard labor for stealing a loaf of bread, right? And then after he ends up getting out of the prison, he breaks his parole. And so Javert, it's like a personal vendetta for him. He just wants to see Jean Valjean put back into jail. Okay, and so one of the songs that was really coming forward for me was a song called Stars. Okay, which Javert, Russell Crowe ends up singing it. Okay, and it's all about how he does everything by the law, because he's the lawman, and that's all he wants. He just wants to see what's right and just according to him, and he wants Jean Valjean to. He won't stop until he sees him in prison again. All right, now hold on to that, guys, because that's the character that they gave me for him. Okay, so when I tell him this, he tells me, well, that's kind of funny because that's what they call me over here. They call me the lawman. I said, he's just a lawman who just can't accept ever being wrong. I'm saying, like, he's just stubborn, and he's like, that's what they call me over here. Because apparently, this is when he opened up to me, apparently he ran a gang. All right, he ran a gang, and they called him the lawman because he would go in and he would, lay the law down, so to speak, according to him. Okay, so I was making, let me just be real, I was making plans to go see him, right? I was making plans. I was giving up on my relationship at the time that I honestly felt like I didn't even agree to really be in. I was just doing what I had to do in order to survive. And I was making plans. I was gonna leave everything behind, right? And I was gonna go see him. At this time, lockdown had happened, but I'd heard that the border was supposed to open back up. It was supposed to open up in the 1st of July or something like that. Okay. But I was actually really, really nervous. All right. There was some red flags that had started to appear. All right. At one point, he freaked out because there were people from his life, his past, or his family or friends. So they had found out about me on Facebook. And I remember he freaked out and he's like, you have to block all these different people. And if they ever talk to you, you don't listen to them. Don't listen to what they're going to say. Okay, well, then Spirit sent me another song, a heart song, and it was called Love on the Brain by Rihanna, right? What's that song about? That song is about a woman getting beat up, but she can't leave because basically she's hooked. You know, she's hooked on the sexuality portion of the relationship, so to speak. And so I shared this with him, and he confessed to me that he punched an ex. Syrup said, okay, this is what happened. You know, like this is what they might have told you. If you hear, like I did, I punched her in the face. I punched my ex. She did this thing and it was completely unacceptable. And I punched her in the face. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, this is not cool. He like, no. So I said to God, I said, God, you know, this is really not a good situation for me to be going into. And I should not be going to see this guy. I said, simple. Shut down the border, make sure it doesn't open back up. So I can't go see him. Okay, so I said this prayer, and the next day I wake up, and out of nowhere, a friend of mine, a synchronicity, right? A friend of mine randomly messages me and says, yeah, you know, the Canadian border is still shut down. I think you were saying you were going to go see someone in Canada, but just so you know, the border is shut down. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. But how do I back out of this now without like this is a magician, guys. Like, how do I back out of this now? How do I and at the time I was still really confused too. I didn't really want to believe in myself. I still was very insecure. So I kept going forward, right? So let's just go ahead and put this. We've been trucking forward. This has been like from July. We're gonna say all the way up until from January. I mean, all the way up in July. We're into July. I'm getting ready to go to ESETI at this point. Okay, and you know he was very disappointed I couldn't come see him, obviously. So I went to ESETI. Well, guess what? This guy was also a remote viewer. Okay, so he was remote viewing me while I was at this conference at ESETI, and I didn't even know that's what was happening until he told me when I got back. He said that someone was trying to stop him from seeing me. That there was some being that was literally building a brick wall around me so that he could not see me, and he wanted to know who it was. And who I was just like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude, because I literally was not tapped into the depth of abilities at this point. Like I was starting to figure it out, but I really did not know. Okay. Well, let's see if I want to get to that again first. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do want. I got to briefly touch on this, and then we're going to go back into the ESETI thing. So while this is all happening, okay, I'm just going to have to be real with you guys here. I was talking to someone else too, because I talk to a lot of people. All right. I'm a Gemini. All right. I talk to a lot of people. Kind of got a little bit of a wandering eye. You know, if you want to say that, whatever. Okay. So I was talking to this other guy. And by contrast, his energy and the things that were going on with him were very, very, very different. And I remember one of the first things I ever told him, or that Spirit even told me for him, was, I was like, you know, you got Rasputin energy. You know, and I knew I was taking a chance on saying that, but I'm like, but that's what Spirit was telling me. Like, you got like Rasputin energy. And he liked it. He laughed, but he was like, you know, he was okay with that. You know, he was an artist. The reason I even was talking to this person is because he was posting this artwork that he did. And it was some of the most beautiful artwork I'd ever seen. It was personally, I was just like, wow, I just love this fucking style. Like how everything he's drawing, the colors, the shapes, you know, I thought it was so, I would share it. Actually, I shared a lot of his work. He just did this beautiful piece as an owl, you know, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And I remember I posted a lot of it on Facebook. I could probably go back and find it and put it back out there. I still actually have his art pieces. I tried to look for them to show you guys, but I never really fully unpacked from the move. So it's down in my boxes somewhere packed up. So anyway, this guy, this artist, okay, it turns out that the week before I went to ESETI, all right, he had left. He was already at ESETI. Spirit almost already lined it up for us to meet each other. For some reason, he ended up leaving. He told me that he had worked there. He had volunteered there. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not like we ended up talking because we were part of the same friend groups and stuff like that. Like, we didn't never talk about any of that disclosure stuff. I didn't even know he was into the ESETI stuff, until I mentioned, oh, hey, I'm going on a trip. I'm going to ESETI. He's like, what? I just left there. I was there a week ago. I'm like, oh my God. So again, synchronicities and coincidences, these things line up. Okay, so he told me actually that he built the cabin I stayed in. I thought that was just so very funny that I ended up staying in the cabin like he actually built. Like, that's so weird. He had also struggled with addiction. Okay, and when I shared the heart songs that I had, like the heart songs that were coming through at the time, which was some stroke songs were starting to come through. Okay, the Strokes ended up playing a very big part in my life. Okay, the Stroke song "Life is Simple in the Moonlight" and "Welcome to Japan." Okay, these were like the heart songs for him. Because when I shared them with him, he was like, "Oh my God, like that's exactly what I'm thinking and feeling right now." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is one way that Spirit talks to me, is they send me these songs." All right, I remember he introduced me to Tool, which I was really happy about that. Okay, so music was really becoming deeply embedded into my magic. All right, so now we're at ESETI. Okay, I've been remote viewed. I had pretty much a great time. Like I said, he said someone had built a wall around him. He was pissed. The angel hunter. Okay, but also while I was at ESETI, I was scanned by some ship of some sort. Okay, a purple orb type thing. A purple light scanned me. Okay, and so when I was talking to this purple light, I actually told the purple light. I said, "Why don't you go and tell him?" I said, "Hey." It's like, could you do me a favor? And I remember them telepathically communicating with me. And they were like, "Are you really asking us to do you a favor right now?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, you're like, what? Like, we're connected, right? I'm like, you can do, like, you're out, look at you, you're out there doing these things. I don't even know what you are or what you're doing. I was like, could you go to this guy? I was like, could you tell him I love him? I was like, just go and tell him. And sure enough, the next day he told me not only was there someone blocking him from being able to see me, but also some purple orb visited him and scanned him with a purple light. And he said he didn't know what was going on, but he was like, it was a really weird experience. I didn't tell him at the time. I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, that was me. I was like, I sent that thing to you. I was like, yeah. I was like, I was trying to tell you I love you, but whatever. Okay, so after I left ESETI, again, strokes coming through hard and hot when it comes to the music magic for me. My son David had brought me their newest album, which was called The Adults Are Talking. And this was when the weirdness really kicked up a notch, because there was a song called Not the Same Anymore. And it literally described everything that happened to me on the day that I was coming home from ESETI. Like, he talks about missing a flight. He talks about something making a better window than a door. I literally missed my flight. I came home and I slammed the door so hard after I got in this argument with my ex that it broke the window out of the door. And like, there was just like the whole thing. I could go through it and I could just be like, flip, 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 flip. Okay. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. So spirits were really starting to sing to me through these stroke songs. And I'm like, have at it. I started to really fall in love with the stroke songs, let me tell you. Okay. But this also was showing me, because I wasn't the same anymore, right, that things needed to change. Okay. I started to realize what the possibilities were now that I'd gone and I'd been around people of like mindset. And I finally waking up like I have a soul family, like, that's out here in the world, like the people that I could actually connect to and feel some type of fulfillment with. So I'm like, I'm not the same anymore. Like, this has changed everything, and I need to figure out how to fix this all. Okay, I realized, what? I need to start telling the truth all the time if I can so help it. Okay, and so that brings us to the next part, the next tarot card here, which I'm going to talk about today, which was the Star. Okay, the Star card, the star of destiny, of fate. The path that you have laid before you. that spirit guides you down, right? I honestly did not know how much danger I was in at the time. Okay, I definitely downplayed it. You know, I mean, we already knew this guy was this angel hunter. Now we know he was an angel hunter. Back then, I didn't know he was an angel hunter. Okay, so this is what was the final straw that told me I need to get the fuck out of here now. I need to stop this with him now. All right, I had this dream. I call it the cathedral dream. This is where the star card comes into play. Okay, in this cathedral dream, there were two aisles. Okay, I walked into this cathedral. There were two aisles. The first middle aisle was lit. It wasn't lit at all. It was in darkness. Okay, and at the end of the aisle was a tree. Inside, it was a tree, and it was in darkness. And there was a guy there, and he was like, he looked like exactly like Snoke from Star Wars. So you can look up that character. You can Google it if you don't know who that is. Okay, but it was Snoke. All right, from Star Wars, and he was doing something. He was killing birds. He was killing birds, and there was an angel that was coming to him, and it was delivering these cups of water to him. And so I look over, and on the next aisle, so we had the left aisle, right? Kind of like maybe the left-hand path, right? The left aisle, and then we got the right aisle. And in the right aisle, it was lit up with light. And at the end of the light aisle, there was a tree as well. And this tree had like sunlight over it. It was very bright. And there I was. I was next to this tree. And there was a small pond, all right, by this tree. And I was taking cups and I was filling it up, the cup with water. And I was handing it over to an angel. And the angel was taking it to the guy in the left aisle that was in darkness. Okay. And so what this guy was doing, I just instinctually knew, all right, that he was killing birds to prophesize the future. All right. So the angel was delivering the last cup of water I had given, and the Snoke character killed the bird, and he saw the future. And it's not like I just knew the future that he was seeing was, I'm going to leave him. Right? I'm not going to keep going through with this. And he said to the angel, he said, and this is how you decided to tell me. And the angel started to back up, right? And he started to get up and get his life. And now suddenly my consciousness, I was in the angel's body, and I was zooming, like, you know how you do in a high-speed chase. I was flying, zooming out of that cathedral, down the right path, down the lit up path. And he was coming after me, and he was hitting the walls as he's trying to grab a hold of me as I escaped out the cathedral door. And I left, and he came out, and I could just see him in my dust here. And he's just like, it's gonna get you. And so I told the guy this dream. He knew right off the bat, like, this was me ending things, right? Okay, well, here's the thing, guys, though. The book he had written, the cover of the book was a picture, a mask-like picture, and it looked exactly like Snoke. It looked exactly like that. And that's also when he confessed to me that in his past, when he was a child, he did used to kill birds for prophecy. That's part of the magic that his adoptive mother taught him. See, I think that he is actually a part of all that darkness, a part of the Illuminati's stuff. I actually think he was a part of that stuff. I think that he was taken into it. In fact, the reason that I really, really think that the most is because at one point, his adoptive parents left him with a babysitter. They went out to a play, and they left him with a babysitter that was this psycho that lived down the street. And they knew this kid was a psycho. Like, I guess he had killed rabbits or something like that. They knew this kid was a psycho. And they left this kid to babysit him. And He raped him and beat him almost to death. They had to bring him back to life. They had to resuscitate him. So what does that sound like? It sounds like a fucking ritual to me. That sounds like a fucking ritual that they did to him. And so now, he just kind of, I don't know. Very, very sad. So I think that this is why I call him the angel hunter, because I think he was coming after me, because I think he was, once you awaken and once your light gets turned on and you're activating your abilities and stuff, these things sense you. They sense you and they'll come for you. And you have to be ready for it. Okay. So anyway, I did end up telling him I was leaving, right? So this was a foreshadowing to the end, right? Yep. I'm just realizing I've gone over all that. Okay. Let me just check it off so I know that I fucking did this part, guys. Bear with me. Hold on. Take a deep breath for me here. Boop. Yep. Okay. Yep. Went over that. Yeah, he was a dark magician sent after me. So I broke it off with him. I told him I need to focus on my current relationship. And I'm starting to wake up, starting to realize, this isn't exactly the best situation. Don't really want to be doing it this way. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how else to do this at this point. I wasn't living my truth. I wasn't happy. And it's not like I hadn't reached out to my ex. I had written him. I remember one time I wrote him a 10-page letter one time explaining to him how sad I was and how I wasn't feeling love in my heart anymore. And I was begging him to help me. I was saying, I said, the scariest thing is that I don't feel love in my heart anymore. And I have kids. And how are they going to know how to love if I don't even have it to show them? And I was begging him, could you please help me reconnect, help me feel that again? And it fell on deaf ears. He literally did nothing with that information. Okay. I remember I found the letter in his bedroom drawer fucking years later, before I moved out, the very last year before I moved out, I found it and I took it so I could reread it again. And I put it in my robe pocket. And at one point I'd taken my robe off and the letter had fallen out. And he found it. And he read it, and only he read it as if he was reading it for the first time. And so he came back at me like, well, if we're going to work things out, things are going to be a lot different. Like he always does. We're going to have to do all these things. I'm like, fuck that. I was like, I wrote that fucking years ago. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. I'm not going back to that. I'm not going back to where I have to be something I'm not. We'll never go back to that. Okay. So anyway, but I needed to figure out how to get to the point where we could have that clean break, right? I didn't know how to do it. I had no idea how I was going to be able to do that. But I knew that I needed to break it off with this angel hunter so that I could focus on doing that, right? Figuring that out. So I told him, I'm going to have to turn around. I'm going to need to focus on this relationship that I have and figure out, things, if I can get out of it and then, I come back, well then cool. But if not, I can't do this anymore. Okay. And I felt good about that. I broke it off with him. But do you think he was going to let me have peace? No. This was going to be his end, right? He's a Jalvert. He's a Jalvert. He's not going to let Jean Valjean go. No. How does Jalvert finally let Jean Valjean go? What does he do? Kills himself. That's the only way he's going to let this go. And honestly, I think he might have in the long run. I honestly think he might have. But I don't know for sure. So anyway, let's just go ahead and switch gears for one more second. Okay. Because the angel hunter will come back up, but we need to switch back over to the artist now, because the Rasputin, the artist, because some more magic started happening around that. Okay. Again, I'm a Gemini. I apologize. I got a lot of people that I be dealing with. Okay. Please try to keep up. I'm doing my best. Meanwhile, I'm still talking to the artist. He never once, in comparison, contrast in comparison, right, with the angel hunter, he never pressured me for anything. He really opened up and revealed himself. He seemed to be living in the moment for the most part. I really liked that. He actually pondered and contemplated God and deeper things, and that made my heart happy. That was something you don't find that often. Even now, I don't often find that. And so there was a song that came, this song called Lips on You by Maroon 5. And this is where I realized Spirit not only talks through the songs, talks through the videos too. Okay. So I looked up to see if there was a video for the song. This band, Maroon 5, they never made a video, an official video for this song, but somehow there was a video there. And in this video, the Adam Levine, okay, he literally is dressed up, his glasses, he looked exactly like the artist. Okay, he looked exactly like him. And in the video, he's basically, it's the artist guy, and he's sitting there and he's laying in bed and he's thinking about this woman. Okay. And then they flip over to the woman, all right, and she's laying in bed and she's thinking about the artist, right? And they're like, they want to meet, they want to unite, they want to see each other. Okay, that's what the message I took. I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is beautiful, like miracle. Look at this beautiful song and this beautiful video, and it reminds me exactly of my, like, wow, like over and over and over again. Every time a song comes through that holds such deep meaning, I'm just like, praise God, praise the angels, thank you for this message, and so I wanted to hold this guy. I wanted to hold him just like in the video. I wanted to comfort him, okay, because I saw his sadness, I saw his loneliness, I saw his struggle, I could relate to it, all right, and I desired a connection. My heart was moved. And so I said to God, I said, if it is, this is when I really started like being very specific with my wordings. Okay. So this is where I started adding in, okay. If it's in alignment, if it is in alignment with our highest love and joy timeline, I said to God, I said, then make the way clear for this man to come see me for a single night. The next day, after I asked this, he calls me. He tells me, guess what? I'm never going to believe this. Try me. Go ahead. Just try me. My boss that I used to work for called me up and he offered me a job. And the job is going to be delivering pianos. I'm going to be going to all these different cities. And the last city is your city. Do you want to see me? Absolutely, I want to see her. I'm like, what are you talking? Of course I want to. What are you? Yes, yeah, of course. Like God lined up. God just made the way clear. How could I not trust that? I mean, I asked God, if I'm not seeing something and I shouldn't be going to see this other guy in Canada, right? Show me, shut it down. Next day, God shut it down. Now I'm like, okay, well, if I should be seeing this guy, then make the way clear. Boom, next day, the way is made clear. He's coming to see me. So I make plans to see this guy, which was not an easy thing to do at the time. Okay. Like really like just even going to ECETI was like something that I never thought I could ever do for like with all the kids that I have and everything. I never ever thought I'd be able to take the time to do something like that. I had this girlfriend that encouraged me. She said, no, you could definitely come. And that was what did it for me, was someone saying, yeah, no, you could come. You could do that. Right. So, but outside of taking trips to a conference or something like that, it's like, I couldn't ever leave my home. I couldn't ever leave my kids. Like it just wasn't allowed. It was just, I don't know how to say it. It just was against the rules. Okay. I didn't have any friends. Where was I going to say I was going? Where was I going to say I was going? So, at that point I had one girlfriend that I saw occasionally. And so I was like, I'm gonna go and see my girlfriend, is what I said. I was lying, obviously. Like this was within a week. Okay. Within a week of me telling the angel hunter, like, I'm done. I got to figure out what I'm doing here. But then everything lined up for the artist. So I was like, okay, we're just going to do this. So I go and I see him and I love him. He was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man. And I still talk to him on occasion. I wrote him today and let him know. I was like, I'm going to be doing a stream and, you're going to be a big part of it. So if you ever want to come watch it, feel free, He was like, thank you. I'm so honored. I'm like, yeah. So we still have a good connection. We still have a good relationship. We just don't really ever get a chance to talk to each other anymore. But anyway, that's a little side thing. Okay. So I get home after this beautiful experience that I had. And my ex, who was not my ex at the time, right? He was there and he was awake. I got home at like, I don't know, 3, 4 in the morning, I think, something like that. Cause I couldn't even stay out all night. I couldn't even manage to do that. I was just like, no, like I'll get out as long as I can. I was very controlled. I was very much under lock and key. I don't know how to put it. And so I got home and he's awake and he's acting super fucking weird. And I'm just like, what is going on? You know? Well, the angel hunter, that's what was going on. But he wouldn't say. He would not let me, and he wouldn't say, and he wouldn't let me sleep. I was just like, what is going on? Finally, I'm able to go to bed. All right. But I wake up the next day and I'm sick. Like I'm like vomiting super bad. It's like I have like food poisoning or something. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking like, am I processing like the energy that I shared with the artist, or like, is this from the angel hunter? Maybe like, is he like magically, is he cursing me now? Like what is going on? Or am I just sick? Maybe I just had food poisoning. I don't really know. I don't really know to this day. I don't really know. But in my sick state, this was the time. Now, granted, he was probably, very upset himself. I get that. But in my sick state, my ex confronts me and he tells me basically the angel hunter contacted him. Okay. And at that point, he tries to take my phone because he's like, I'm going to go through your phone. But I had a lock on it. And I was like, fuck no. Like, I'd already lived that other timeline before where he went through my phone for some bullshit. And I was not about to have that again. So I locked my phone. I literally had to chase him around. My neighbors got a whole bunch of drama filled that day as I ran around my block chasing him for my phone. Sick as a dog. Like, oh my God, I had to call my mom. I had to come over and intervene. And he's like showing her all the things that the angel hunter said, all the inappropriate things that we talked about, the pictures, all the things, the one fucking video. Like, Jesus Christ, you're showing my mom this. Oh, my mom's like, I don't want to see this. I'm just like, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. But eventually we get my phone back. Okay. And calm down. Because, basically the angel hunter decided that if he couldn't have me, no one could have me. He just basically flat out said that. And he basically showed me exactly what he planned to do. I think this man was going to not only cage me, I think he was going to beat me. I think he could have killed me, quite honestly. Okay, because the things that he said to my ex was basically like, here's what she's been doing. I was going to put her in her place, but now, now you need to be aware of it. Oh, shit. Okay. So now I'm being confronted. What do I do? All right. Just trying to think of which part I'm going to go to here next. Okay. So at this point, as he's confronting me, I had to go into myself. I'm basically like frozen. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I'm desperately trying to think of someone that I could reach out for to help. I'm like thinking to myself, spirit-wise, like who can help me? I'm just like, oh God. And someone popped in my head, right? So, okay, them. I'll ask them to help me. Okay. And I went inside myself. And even though I couldn't scream it out loud, I trusted. I knew that you don't even have to make a sound for the energy to go out, right? And so I went into my heart, and as loud as I could, with as much force as I could energetically, I screamed to this person to help me. Help me. I don't know what to do. Like, here's the situation. I don't know what to do. Help me. And I swear to God, the whole universe heard me. Because that's the thing. Is that it does, like quantum physics. It can go. It's like it's already there. It's already at the end of the universe. Okay. And the universe responded. And he said, tell him the truth. Okay. The truth. What is the truth? The truth is I saw a pattern. The truth is I recognized this pattern from years now at this point, from my first marriage even. Okay. And it's not that I hadn't even, and so this is, I had to explain this to him at this point. I had to confess to him. I couldn't do any more lies, and the whole coping mechanism of turning away from my current partner to someone else. I can tell you exactly when it developed, like, because it wasn't like I was always like that. It was actually quite the opposite. And I talked about when I manifested with my first real boyfriend last week, and how I basically asked him the love for his love to be increased, for me, was it to see him every single day, and then for all the lies, if he ever told me any lies, for me to find them out, right? And this was my first son's father. I mean, I was deeply in love with this man, and the lies that I found out at the end, it was like he cheated on me, and it devastated me. I remember being so broken. Like, now I have a child with this man who looks like him, and whom I'm going to have to love and take care of. And it didn't ever interfere with that. I love my son more than I love my children. It didn't ever interfere with that. But I felt like he never loved me. I feel like that was the hardest blow. I thought, how could he have ever loved me if he could have done that with someone else? He could talk to another woman in that type of a way. And then, you know how it is, okay, if you've ever been cheated on, now suddenly it's like, it had to have been all the time. Everyone, like, I remember my mom stopping me one time, and she was like, think about it for a second, Cassie. She was like, he was literally with you all the time. When could he have even had a chance? And I'm like, well, apparently at some point, like, it had to have happened at some point. Like, even if it was just the talking, I was upset. I was just devastated, right? Well, years down the road, when I was with my first husband, okay, like, I'd watched this movie. This was the movie that inspired me to go down this dark path, honestly. It was called Unfaithful. Okay. And so it sparked in me this desire, like, why do people do that? I don't understand. Like, how could he have done that to me? How do people do this? Well, I'm watching this movie. How? What could be the reason? You're risking everything. I don't understand. But it was that desire in itself that sparked the chain of events that would happen, that would allow me to become that thing, and to now not be the one that was cheated on, but now I was the cheater, right? And I remember going through it, and I remember thinking afterward, I was like, okay, he did love me. It is possible. It is possible to love someone and to still do these things. And I feel like that was ultimately what I kind of wanted to prove to myself. I wanted to prove to myself that love was still real. Like, it's always coming back to the love, right? I wanted to know that love was still real, even though he had betrayed me. And so I ended up becoming the one who betrayed. And I realized, wow, I actually still love my husband. Like, I don't understand how this is possible. Like, in fact, I don't understand how this dynamic makes things even like I'm nicer to him even with it. And like, that doesn't make sense. And that's still, there's something to be said about that. Psychologically, Carl Jung goes into it a lot. He went into it, the whole dynamic of that type of a situation. But either way, that was when I started developing that coping mechanism. Okay. Because of that interest, because of that desire to be able to know, did my first boyfriend, my first son's father, did he actually love me? Was that even possible? And I think the answer was yes. Yes, I do think he loved me for the way he could love me, right? And so now let's bring us back now to the present moment that I was talking about, which is I'm being confronted by my ex. Why did I do this, right? Tell him the truth. And so I just told him, like, I made a mistake. I realize now what I'm doing. I'm sensing a disconnect between the two of us. And instead of being able to reconnect us and to turn towards you And to fix things with you, I was turning away. I was turning away and looking for that outside because I didn't know how to get it from you. You know, I said, it's not that I don't love you. You know, I love you to the best that I can love you. At that time, that was the best I could do. And and I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. I did give it a try. Like we did agree by some miracle to try to work it out still. I already knew it was done though. I already knew it was going to be done. But I had to show myself that it was really done. I had to show myself that. And so it took a couple months for us to finally officially break things off. And then when I finally did break things off, I was just like, I'm never going to do that again. If I have to lie to someone about what I'm doing again, I'm not doing it then. That's what I'll have to say. That is one of the biggest reasons that I am very careful about how I commit myself to people. You know, I'm just very careful about that because I never want to be in that role again where we're hiding things. You know, I don't want to do that. So I decided that truth was the only way to go. Truth is freedom. And it unshackles you from the chains that you put upon yourself. That's the devil. That's the devil card right there. Okay. I found myself in that devil card situation. The chains I put on myself. And I was like, I'm done. And I took those chains off and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And I walked away. But I couldn't get very far because I still had to live with this man for another couple of years because I didn't have another way out at that time. So that was quite interesting. You know, and I felt bad because here's the thing. When you unload this and you get this stuff off your shoulders, there's a joy that comes along with it. There's like just an ecstasy, a bliss that comes along with you finally have been honest and vulnerable and open and you've shared your truth and you've bared it to the world and you're just like, that's all I have, God. Like, just, this is it. This is me. And I want to live in that all the time. I want to live in that sunlight all the time. So, yeah. So, yeah, we went through the magician stage. Okay. I was going into the magician stage. Okay. We went through the star. Okay. My fate. Still going through that. Okay. We went through the devil card. Those were all the different tarot cards so far. And this is just part 2. I'm going to stop here now, though, because, like I said, this is a series. This is a series. Okay. And, yeah, that was the angel hunter and the artist. And we're going to get into some more of the weirdness and the manifestations and the miracles, and the dreams coming true, and the sacred marriage, and all the little details of all the ways that my Mr. Universe has showed up for me, continues to show up for me, and support me, you know, and guide me. That's the biggest thing. Guiding me. Making sure I get the things done that I need to get done. Because, you know, I honestly could just sit here and walk around, like I said, I could just live on cloud 9 and listen to my music and dance and daydream, you know, astrally talk to people. Like I could just spend my entire life doing that, you know, and be happy for it. But there's also a part of me that is like, no, like that's the part. He's like, no, this wasn't just for that. Like you have to come out and you have to tell people. You have to. Like, that's why after the couple months of us going over everything, okay, it eventually got to the point where it was like, it's time. Like, you can't just keep sitting on this. Like, you can't just, no, you have to go out here and you have to share this with people. And if I don't, let me tell you, it's kind of like Ghost, the movie Ghost. You know, the part with Patrick Swayze, okay, where he's basically harassing Whoopi Goldberg by singing I'm Henry VIII, I am, in bed over and over and over again. That is what he does if I don't come out here. That is what he does. He just repeat. Okay, I get it. I'm out here. I'm doing the things. I'm sharing it. I'm letting people see. This is how psychic powers and gifts can show up. Mine shows up through movies and through music. Music is the biggest, strongest one, I would say. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed that part 2. Okay. So got another part of that story done. All right. Shall we get the fortune cookies out? Who's ready? Ooh. Oh, you don't have to be sorry you're late. Little poet boy. You're right on time. A Virgo. Oh, a Virgo would, yeah. They would be upset about being late. I have a Virgo moon, so I get that. I totally get that. I hate when I miss things like the streams and stuff that I really want to be a part of. You know, like I will flip my shit when I fucking miss it. I'll be like, I want to watch it live though. I don't want to watch the recording. I want to watch it live. Okay, that's how I get about it. But you know, sometimes you just gotta watch things as replay. Hello, Kiki. I'm just saying hi to the people I'm seeing out here. Oh, hi, Matthew and Honora. Saw you guys up there popping in. Yes. Okay. Just glancing over the comments real quick till we get to the fortune cookie. Thank you, Barry. I really appreciate that compliment. Really, really appreciate that. Oh, I heard someone just tap on my door. I am not ready. I am doing a live stream. Okay, let's get out the cards. I still hear someone. What is it? What? All right, come on in and grab it real quick. She needs her green marker. She's coloring something for me. Go ahead, come on in real quick. I'm still streaming, but you can come in for a second and grab your green marker. You're not going to get on the video. Just get the green marker. Over here cheesing. Here, you want to pick my fortune cookie for me actually real quick? We're going to let her pick the fortune cookie for us, guys. Take a good one. Okay, give it to me. Thank you. All right, grab your green marker. I think you have it already downstairs. In fact, I remember you taking it down there when we went down there. Okay, my sweet baby. My sweet princess. Come on, hightail it out. Yep, it's downstairs already. Yep, grab your kitty too. Grab our little kitten. Yeah. Okay. Very nice. Very good. All right. What message does the collective need to hear today? I hope your guys' Thursday was good because that was our fortune cookie for last week. It was that you were going to get good news on Thursday, right? Okay. So I hope you got some good news. Okay. Here we go. It's time. Oh, I probably pulled this out without even breaking the cookie. All right. Keep a journal to track your thoughts and progress. Oh, yes. Keep a journal to track your thoughts and progress. That's actually, I have a lot of journals. It's so funny because for a long time I wasn't using them. I don't really use them that much, except for when I'm doing the Course in Miracles. And I guess when I'm writing for my streams and stuff. But I realize now that there's this part of me. I love writing. I absolutely love writing. And I also fucking hate it. I fucking hate writing. Okay? I love it and I hate it. I don't know what to do about it because I'm thinking I probably have a book here when it comes to life experience. And I kind of get the feeling the spirit wants me to do that. And they're going to have to do a lot of pushing then if they're going to want me to do that. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. So, who's ready for the tarot? Who is ready for the tarot? While I have your attention, if I have your attention, if you guys could please hit the thumbs up button. Okay. And if you are not subscribed already, please do subscribe or consider subscribing. Okay. Because I like to come back and do this again and again and again. And it helps me All right, helps me out if you subscribe, because I just want to reach 1,000. I don't even care if I get more than 1,000. Okay, if you can just get me to 1,000, and I can do streams on my phone, it'll open up a whole new level of things I could do. I could take people door dashing with me. We could do live streams out in the world, door dashing and stuff. It'll be so much fun. Think of all the fun places I could show you that I go to. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's just besides what I do here, that would just be a lot of fun. But if I never make it to 1,000, that's okay too. I'm quite happy with my little channel here and the people that come and visit and say hi and listen. It makes me very happy. So, all right, give me a shout out though in the chat if you're ready for the stream. The cards. I'm getting a phone call now. What is that? Okay, let me know if you're ready for the tarot cards. Is this even working anymore? All right, hold on, my thing. Okay, ready! Yay, Victor! Thank you coming through for me on that one. Oh, okay. All right, for the collective. Tuning in. Here we go. Request. What's your system? I'm doing this right. Ooh, stuck at the end there, huh? Yeah, I guess I am getting a little stuck at the end here, huh? Please assist me. This is a message for all people in the chat now and any future watchers. This message is what Spirit has to say for you. Last shuffle. Last little shuffle. There you go. Yes. Holy Spirit, what's the first card? Whoop. First card. 10 of Pentacles. Okay. So we're coming to a close on something. I don't know. I feel like the first thing that they just popped out, I don't know if anyone's looking or trying to buy a house or anything like that, but this could be a sign that that is going to go through for you. Okay, this is also about generational wealth. So if there's some type of inheritance or like estate money that's been that could be coming your way, like, or that I feel like maybe could have been held up for whatever reason, like it's going to come through for you. Okay, some type of financial blessing. This is an abundance. So this is like really having all your physical. Oh, wow. Okay, this is about having your needs met. Sorry, I just noticed because I noticed the archway. And that's what I could be talking about when I'm talking about my tower and the keystone. That's the keystone. See, it's in place now. Okay, so this is about a happy family. This is about making those connections from different generations, right? Reconnecting with your parents or with your children and just feeling really satisfied within yourself with having made those connections and being able to look at that home and look at what you've created, right? Look at that beautiful thing in the background there. Okay, this is a positive sign. This is a blessing. Okay, so let's go ahead and, yeah, let's pull the next card though. What's the next part of the message? What's the next part of the message? Next part of the message. Tell us more about this time, please. Okay. We got the Hierophant coming through on this one. As above, so below. Okay, this is a major energy card here coming through. So this is a spiritual leader, right? This is someone you could go to for advice about spirituality. Okay, someone that you can look up to in that way. Someone who is willing to do what is best and highest good for all involved, right? They have the keys. What are those keys for? Those keys are not only they are unlocking stuff, inside of you. So he's got some keys for you. If you can go to this guy, you can grab those keys. But what does the keys go to? It goes to the chariot. Okay, the chariot's all about driving your vehicle of matter. Okay, so let's see. We got this 10 of Pentacles. What else? What else does this Hierophant have to say for us? Okay, like he's trying to show you the way. That's the thing. But the way can't be. You can't be forced down the path. All right, it has to be walked willingly. Mm-hmm. Yes, you really want to make sure you do what's best for everyone. Go on that higher level. And if you can't rise above and see that perspective, then again, you want to go to someone who is willing to look at it from a different level than you. Look at it from a higher level than you. Okay. We'll figure out how to tie that 10 of Pentacles in there in a second. For the most part, that's a very positive sign. I'm getting the sense of with the Hierophant, like you are being guided. Like you are being guided in this way. Just that rod just keeps standing out to me. And I'm like, why? Why is the rod standing out to me? See this rod? What is that symbol, guys? What is this thing? I know it's something, right? If anyone knows in the chat, please let me know. Okay. If not, I'll look it up later. It's fine. Okay. Last part of the message. What's the last part of the message for the collective? What was the last part of the message for the collective? Okay. We got the King of Swords rolling through here. So considering how I always look at the way these characters are kind of lined up at each other. Okay. The way I'm looking at it here when I lay them down, it looks like this, right? Okay. So this King of Swords guy needs to reach out to this Hierophant, this spiritual leader. He needs to kind of turn and look towards him. Okay. Because the King of Swords is all about being controlled and specific with his words, how he shares his words. All right. He's definitely willing to go in and get the job done. Okay. And he's able to do it really well because he's mature in the way he knows how to communicate and share himself. But the thing is, he can also be a little on edge. He can be a little bit guarded because swords energies are usually pretty harsh, right? So they always kind of stay a little bit protected. He's the king, right? Look at that. He's got this shield up. Okay. He's keeping his shield up. It doesn't really look like he's ready to fight, though. It just looks like he's like, where am I going to go with this? Am I even going to say anything about this? What do I even do with this? He's got a lot of things on his mind. A lot of ideals. Okay, because they're quick. Because swords energy is air energy. Okay, so this could be, this is Gemini, Aquarius. What's the other one? What's the Libra? Okay, so people with these types of energies. This could be because this could be you, right? Or it could be someone else. All right, someone else is looking. Like this could even be you. So someone else could be looking to you for the advice. Okay, but either way, it's time to really stop and take a look at what the Hierophant has to offer you because he's got the keys. He's got the keys for you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like hearing one more thing. Do I want to say that? Is that vibing with this at the time though, right? Because the thing about the King of Swords is that he likes to think that he came up with all of this stuff up on his own. He likes to think that these were his ideals and he took the initiative to go forward with these ideals, when in actuality that might not have really been the case. Okay? Spirit might have been driving him in a way that he just doesn't even know. Like Hierophant, all right? Your higher self might have been driving you. And now he's starting to see that maybe you have been being driven, so to speak, by this higher, greater good. Okay? Yes. And ultimately, it ties back into this generational home. Happiness, completion, feeling complete, contentment, right? Ultimate feeling content. Love that feeling. Didn't even know it could feel so good. So I put that keystone in. I was like, oh, there it is. Okay, I feel silly now. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's the best I got for you guys here today. I hope that is good enough. Okay, so I will pull one more card over here from one of these oracle decks. I'm going to pull the oracle decks out now. We're going to let you guys choose. Okay. Astro, hi. You did make it. Okay, Victor came through for me. All right, about the symbol. It's called a triple cross. Don't know what it is though. Yeah, right now we have it's Nima. Oh, hi Nima. That's one of my good friends right there. He's coming to see me in January. You better be anyway. Okay. Anyway, he had a plane ticket he had to use. So I was like, fuck it, come out, hang out with me. We'll go door dashing. Mm-hmm. So I guess we need to figure out what the triple cross is all about. Yeah. All right, let's get out the oracle deck. Okay, let's put this away. I love these cards so much. I just really I'm so attached to these now. You know, I had this deck a long time ago. You know, the first time though, I've said this before. I lost one of my cards. It was the Two of Cups, right? And then later on, Spirit manifested a fucking miracle with magic with my cards, and it involved the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups. I remember it was so meaningful to me, and you know, it's just so funny to look back now and think of to see how far I've come, because I remember at the time when I was taking the tarot class and I got my cards out, I realized that I was missing this card, and I was like, can I still take the class even though I don't have this card? You know, and it's like, Cassandra, you're gonna have to buy a new deck. You really even use a deck of tarot cards without a fucking card in it that's supposed to be in it? Like, I don't know. Fucking silly. The things we remember, right? I'm like, God, why I asked such a question? Stupid, Cassandra. Don't ask questions like that. Okay, so we're all about the fairies today. I'm feeling fairy-ish, so I'm feeling the fae. We got fairy godmother and healing with the fairies. Which one should we do? What deck is it? It's called the Aquarian deck. I love it. Aquarian energy is really great. I like that energy. It's my 7th house. So things that I love and feel deeply connected to. This usually Aquarian in nature. Which one, guys? The healing? Okay, healing with the fairies. Per Astro, aka Nima's request, we're doing healing. Oh, Victor found the tarot meaning of the cross. Let's hear what he has to say, guys. Okay, hold on. All right. In his other hand, he carries a triple cross, which is associated traditionally with the Pope. Okay. Well, you know, it's funny because we were just talking about that show, The Young Pope, right? The new Pope. Yeah. Each of the horizontal bars in the cross are thought to represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Trinity. Of course. The Trinity. Threes, man. Coming up everywhere. Threes. Always threes. You know, triangles are the strongest shape in nature. Did you know that? I don't know why. I just love that fact for some reason. I found that out a long time ago when I was watching Boss Baby. I think it wasn't Boss Baby with my kids. I was like, a triangle? Really? Yeah, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you, Victor. It's such a pleasure to have you guys here in the chat. I'm just so happy. Okay, anyway. Okay. Let's do the healing with the fairies oracle deck. We're gonna do this is one more card, and then I'm headed on out. How long have we been around here? Okay, cool. I do try to stay under 2 hours. You know, just because here's the thing. You guys could always just when I go to watch streams that are long that aren't live in the moment, right? And I go to watch a long stream, I just double the speed. You know, just double the speed. So if you're watching this in the future and you're like, oh wow, this is so much, you just double the speed if you can understand me. If you can understand me talking at double speed. Yes. Right? So Gemini of me. Right, I know. Yeah, I never used to really relate much to Gemini energy. I felt like I couldn't ever get a real deep feeling for what Gemini actually like felt like. So I always related more to my Leo ascendant, my Leo rising, because okay, the first tip off that I'm a Leo rising, I'll tell you right now, is my hair. Okay. The tip off right there, it's my hair. It's all about the hair for Leos, Leo energies. Okay. So you always got to be making a statement with the hair if you're a Leo sun, a Leo rising. Okay. So let's get back though to the oracle deck. Okay, what does Spirit want to say to the collective? Into another fairies oracle deck. Okay. Yeah, that's really good to mix up now. Okay. This deck is a lot smaller, so there wasn't too much more to mix up, but I want to shuffle it one more time. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to do it one more time. Yeah, there we go. I love doing that. I love the Vegas shuffle. Okay. What does Spirit want to know? What does Spirit want to know? What does Spirit want to know? What does Spirit want us to know? There you go. Tapping into everyone's energies. Boop. Honoring your true feelings. Oh, I love that one. It is good. Honoring your true feelings. Look at this beautiful card. This is thanks to Dennis, who sent me these cards. A blessing. Thank you so much again, as always, Dennis. It's a beautiful card. Look at that. She's sitting by the water. Mm-hmm. Honoring your true feelings. So that is the message for today. Chris, when did you show up? Were you late? Sorry, I will give him shit for being late. Good to see you here, though. Okay. So, honoring our true feelings. By drawing this card, you're urged to listen to and follow your true feelings. Do not betray yourself or rationalize that it's acceptable to deny your inner voice of truth. You have an inner counselor who is very wise. Kind of like a Hierophant, huh? Maybe? This source of wisdom speaks to you in both physical and emotional ways. Perhaps you have gut feelings that are speaking loudly to you, or physical reactions to situations, such as a tightening jaw or a nervous stomach. Your heart may be drawing you towards a particular geographical location, a specific career, or a certain type of relationship. You may feel compelled to leave a particular situation that is unacceptable. The fairies know the importance of heeding their own feelings, and they ask you to do the same. They say, please don't discount what you know to be true in your heart. Follow your emotions, as they are your inner compass and will steer you home and keep you warm, safe, supported, and joyous. Kind of like the Ten of Pentacles, huh? Okay. If you're unclear about which emotions you're experiencing, write down your thoughts and feelings in a journal to gain clarity and understanding. Kind of like our keep a journal to track your thoughts and progress fortune cookie. So, yeah, all of that. So, yeah. So, that's the King of Swords, too, right? Yeah, that's basically the 3-card tarot spread in one oracle card. Okay, so your affirmation is, I listen to, honor, and follow my true feelings, knowing that they are answers to my prayers. Oh, hopeful art. So nice to see you here. Oh, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's nice that you popped in at all. I was literally just looking at the beautiful artwork that you made me today. Like, I was thinking about it, okay? And I was thinking, gosh, you know what? One of my characters that I like to claim, I guess you could say, is this anime character. Her name is Jolene Joestar. Okay, it's from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6. Okay, it's all about this woman who her superpower is threads of light. Which, let me tell you something. I was doing light weaving before and knew about light cords and stuff before this ever came out. Okay. And when this show came out, this part, I was like, oh my God, that is totally, if I was going to be an anime character, that would be me. That is me. You know what I'm saying? And then I was looking at this today and I was thinking, wow, she even picked up on it because that literally looks like the character. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Hope is really tapped in, I thought. And I just wanted to share that with you. So anyway, yes, listen and honor your true feelings. It looks like our tarot cards came all through in that one. It all lines up. It all links up. Yeah, I feel pretty damn good, guys. I feel pretty good about this. I'm excited to come back for I know, right? It is. I'm excited to come back for part 3. Hopefully I can get it done by next week. Okay. I mean, I plan on it. I plan on coming back once a week again. Yes, I do plan on it. If something comes up though, I'll make a little post on here and let you guys know. So yeah. I don't know if there's anything else. If there's anything else that you guys want to talk about or ask me, I don't think there is anything. I'm trying to think if was anything else I forgot. Because, last week after I left, I literally, this is why I wrote everything down this week in a different way. Because I was like, there's so much things I missed. I was like, there's so many different details I forgot to put in there. And Brayden told me, he warned me, he knew. He was like, I really need you to write it down. I just think that you're going to miss some of your details. You're going to be upset about it. And he was fucking right. He was right. Yeah. Victor says, are you going to the Journey to Truth conference? And of course I am. Yes. I hope you're going to be there too. I'm going to be going to 2 conferences this year. I'm going to go to the Journey to Truth for sure. And I'm going to go to Full Disclosure Now in July. So I hope hopefully you can make it for both. That'd be great. The more the merrier, that's where the real connections are made. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Mount Shasta. I understand. That is actually quite a nice place. So I've never been there, but I've heard lots of great things about it. I love you, Geraldine. Such a pleasure having all of you here. I really super appreciate all of you just coming and listening to me with my hair like this. This is how I do now. This is how I live. Oh, gosh, I feel like there was one more thing I was going to mention real quick. I just feel it. Like there was one more thing. What was it though? I am going to be going to Florida next month for this 12/12 gathering. I'm super excited about. I'm going to be meeting up with Alex and Victoria Bloom and my friend Taylor and Scott, and hopefully Matthew and Honora will pop by, and Mr. Scoggins, he's going to be there. I think Chastity. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm super excited about that. So 12/12. You know what's funny about 12/12? My second marriage, we got married on 12/12/2012. I was like, that way you can easily remember it. The anniversary date, right? 12/12. Oh, terrible. Man dropped my hand during a hand fastening. Terrible. Terrible marriage. Never again. Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's all for today, guys. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just gonna go be happy now. I'm just gonna listen to my music and dance and all that type of shit. And I'll see you back next week for part 3, which I haven't named yet, but I'm excited about it. And I love you guys. And take care. Have a great weekend. I love you all.